Hey everybody, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ready to Die Fighting. I'm Chris, and we are back doing another knot video. Yay! It's kind of a weird thing, but I actually really enjoy tying knots. I find it fun, and I think knots are cool, and they're very useful. And this particular knot is a super useful one. This is something I use on a regular basis if I have two pieces of cord that I need to combine. And what's great about this one is it works equally well if they are not the same diameter. So if this was a thicker or more rigid or stiff type of cordage or line, you could tie this one around it and it's going to hold really nice. That's not the case with some of the other knots that you use to tie two ropes together. So this one's awesome for that, and it's not even limited to cordage. Like if you wanted to tie a line to like a handkerchief or a hammock or sheet or something like that, it works, and it works well, and it's pretty secure. And there's a couple different variations to this knot, and so I'm going to give you a few variants with it as well as this version. So like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. If you want to learn more about knot tying and other survival stuff, it really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate it. And let's learn how to tie the sheet bend or Beckett bend. Alright, so we're gonna pretend like, even though these two lines are about the same diameter, it might be a slight difference between them, I don't know, they're roughly the same, but we're gonna pretend like this is the thicker one. And what you want to do is just make a loop like that. Doesn't really matter which direction you go in or anything. For whatever reason, I just kind of always go this way. I kind of like to tie knots in the same way every time, because that way they always look the same, and it's easy for me to just kind of use muscle memory and not think about it. So you make your little loop. Size doesn't really matter, just make it however, whatever there. And then you want to take the thinner line and you go underneath that loop. And then you are wrapping around both sides, going underneath. And then you lift this up and you're just tucking right underneath there. And you pull it tight. This knot is super easy to make sure it's neat and everything. Like some of the other ones, you have to kind of dress them up and make sure everything's really like the right way and all that. This one, I don't really have that issue. And if you see, it's kind of an ugly knot, because, at least to me it is, because if you see, this is going off perpendicular, this end is coming back, it's very asymmetrical, and so it's not a pretty knot in my opinion, but it's a strong knot, and it's super easy to tie, and it's very versatile. So I would say that this is one of like your top maybe 3, certainly top 5 essential knots to know. So let me go back and do this again. If you put a lot of tension on this, sometimes it can be a little difficult to untie, I find, depending on, various factors. But for the most part, it's not horrible. So you make your loop, you take your thinner line, and you go underneath, wrap around the top, going under. And like a lot of these knots, it's it's the idea of going just over and under, over and under. So you're going under here, back on top, and underneath this one, underneath itself, I guess you could say. And boom, that's it. Pull it tight. That's what it looks like when it is tied. And so that's called a sheet bend. It's also called a Beckett bend. And the other use for this, which I actually already mentioned, is a lot of people like to use this for tying off hammocks. like if you want to tie a hammock to, and you're using some kind of cordage or whatever, you should be using tree straps. But sometimes you can have a strap tied around a tree and then use some sort of cordage to connect to from the strap to the hammock itself. And if you're doing something like that, you may want to have a quick release. So if you want to do a quick release version of this, the tying is the same. You make your loop, you go underneath, wrap around the top, underneath again. But this time give yourself a little bit extra room. And instead of taking the end underneath here, you just want to double it over itself. Like that. Make another loop. And you take this loop and stick it underneath there. And you don't pull it out all the way. You leave that tail end out like that. Doesn't have to be huge, but just enough so that it's sticking out. And once you pull that tight, it's strong. Loud car going by, loud music. And so this is still strong. It's still going to hold great. But now if I want to release this knot, say if I'm adjusting a lot, or if it's, especially if it's not going to be real load bearing or anything like that, you just pull and it falls apart. So we go underneath, wrap around, just kind of double it up over itself. And you can use the same technique with a lot of knots to make them quick releases. Some are more effective than the others, but there you go. And then you just pull it loose. The other variant, and I've actually seen this tied two different ways. The way that I learned it, and this is if you want something a little bit more secure. This is a secure knot anyway, but if you want to really make sure this is going to be safe, if you're got some, you're putting all your body weight on or whatever, you can make sure and make it extra safe by wrapping around and tuck under like you normally would, but then go underneath, just wrap around again, going right underneath, looping back under, following through. And now this knot is just going to be that much stronger, that much less likely to come loose. And if you're doing something that's going to be like carrying your body weight or some other precious cargo, precious load, that's an extra security precaution. And with any of these knots, I don't think I've mentioned this in any other videos, you can always just kind of throw a little overhand knot on at the end just to kind of make sure, just shorten the tail up and kind of make sure it doesn't work itself loose by accident. So that's just a little extra security stuff you can do. And that doesn't have to be real tight or anything, it's just kind of getting that tail out of the way. This is going to be harder to untie, especially I use this knot for my hammock, and I use Amsteel, and it's super strong, but it's very slippery, and it will bite down and get really tight here and hard to untangle. I saw another variation of this, and I cannot speak to how much better or effective it is or anything like that, because I genuinely don't know. I've never tied it this way and used it, but I have seen some people, instead of wrapping around twice here underneath, they'll wrap around the top here, and then, multiple times, however many times they want to ensure their safety. And actually, maybe you might want to go underneath. Sorry. So maybe it's that way, and then that way. And just kind of wrapping around the top around itself. And then when you're done, you can go underneath and tighten it down. And you still got those extra wraps, so it's going to make it a more secure knot. Like I said, I have not used this, out in the woods. I've never tied my hammock with it. I saw someone else tie it that way. So you got, what was that? 3 different variations of this sheet bend or Beckett bend. to see which one you like the best and works best for you. I am going to test this out just because I am curious, but I haven't done it yet. So there we go. Sheet bend or Beckett bend for combining two lines, especially if they are of different diameters or stiffness. This is the knot you want to use. So make a loop, go under, wrap around, and underneath itself. You just pull it tight. And there it is. That's the first version. If you want to make it a quick release, you do the same thing, go around, but this time you double it up over itself and just kind of bring it down that way. And then you can quickly untie it. And then if you wanted to make it more secure, loop around an extra 1, 2, 3, however many times you want to feel more secure. And you got two options. There you go. This way. Around the top before tucking it under. Looks a little weird. However, this way does give you the option of making it a quick release. So we can just loosen that up and tuck that back like that. And now, this does have added security that you have the extra rings there, but I can still quickly release it that way. And the other way to make the extra loops, which is the way that I learned, is you wrap around twice, but you're going underneath here. However, the quick release option really doesn't work once you go around twice. I can show you. What happens here, it's not completely tight there. I kind of feel that there was a lot of space in there. Snug it down some. And so what happens here is it's technically a quick release, but when I pull this, it's still, that just reverts it back to just a single loop, so the knot is still there. So it's not a true quick release that way. But I'm inclined to believe that this way, if you wanted to make it very secure and safe, I'm inclined to believe that this is the way you'd want to go. If you wanted to make it a quick release version, but you wanted to double up the loops there for added security, then I would probably go this way, where you wrap along the above, I don't know what you call that, before going underneath. Do it that way. I didn't make that a quick release, did I? I meant to. I forgot. Whatever. But that's the idea. Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You learned something. Share with your friends. Like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And I would like to see this channel grow. I'd like to have a bunch of people who are ready to die fighting and surviving and in getting outside, enjoying the outdoors, all that stuff. And there's only one way to make that happen, and that is to like and subscribe to my videos, and you can get all the content that I'm putting out there. Hit that notification bell and you'll be the first one to know. And let me know in the comments if you've tried tying the knot this way, how that works, and if I'm doing it correctly. Like I said, I just saw a quick video on it that they did it this way, and this was new to me, so I have not tried it out. If you got any thoughts or feedback or anything, yeah, let me know. Alright, catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.